A few moments later.
Just like what we've seen earlier, are you able to recall a time when you felt like you could not trust your team members? Well, I certainly have. In that team, it was a norm to be late to meetings, miss deadlines that have been set as a team, and give sloppy or subpar quality of work. There was severe apathy and a lack of mutual trust between team members. In hindsight, the reason behind such a situation unfolding in our team was simple. We did not establish a common plan and purpose at the start of the project. Imagine you're a pilot. Before taking off, not only do you have to know your destination, you also have to know the exact flight path to get there. Similarly, just like a plane with no direction, a team that sets off without first discussing and setting a common plan and purpose is doomed. Doing so increases accountability and provides motivation and clarity in one's task. According to research by Edwin Locke, a pioneer in goal-setting theory, 90% of people perform better with specific and challenging goals. After setting goals, the next step is to follow through with the plans. If my team members were then encouraged to work towards the common goals that we have set together, the team would have been a more cohesive one. This would have led to a greater team identity and therefore a greater sense of trust between team members. If further coupled with high performance norms, my team would also have enjoyed higher overall productivity. In another team I worked with, the pressure for conformity was a real issue. In discussions, everyone was merely agreeing with each other, trying to match what has already been said. If anyone tried to bring up any contrasting opinions or play the devil's advocate to provoke the discussion, they would be met with a cold response from others in the team. This created a norm in the team to be afraid of expressing opinions that are different from what the rest have, because we desire to fit in, to feel accepted, and to feel welcomed by the rest of the team. This pressure to conform made our brainstorming sessions essentially fruitless, as the scope of the ideas we gathered were very limited. This phenomenon is backed by research as well. In a study conducted by Solomon Asch, a pioneer in social psychology, groups of 7 to 8 people were tasked to compare these two cards and identify the line among A, B, C that is identical to X. As we can see, The differences in the lengths of the lines were pretty obvious, and sure enough, the subjects usually got them right more than 99% of the time. But the twist here is that there was only actually one true participant in the group. The rest were planted by the research team. When one of the subjects from the research team gave an obviously wrong answer, which was then supported by the rest from the research team, a staggering 75% of the real participants actually gave an answer that conformed. They knew that the answer was wrong, but they still chose it because it matched with what the rest of the team had answered. This goes to show that we do feel pressure towards conforming to group norms. All in all, trust, which is critical to a team's success, can be affected by different factors, such as the absence of a common goal, social conformity, and so on. It is thus important for us to be aware and manage these factors so as to strengthen trust between team members and hence optimize team performance.
Now that we are completely virtual, information integration, which is the merging of information from diverse sources, is very important. So what are some advantages of virtual communication? Virtual teams are even more important now due to the pandemic. We have been acclimatized to using our computers or laptops, etc., to meet our team members who are physically apart and work together to achieve a common goal. So the very first evident advantage is being able to meet regardless of physical borders or geography. This means that information can be shared and integrated easily in teams or companies who are separated physically and internationally. When talking about ease of information sharing, we can branch into another advantage of virtual communication, which is information timeliness. With the widespread use of collaborative tools, information is disseminated almost instantaneously 24/7. Now, on our emails, we can set calendar reminders, send calendar invites for meetings both informal and formal, as well as receive pop-ups to ensure that everyone involved is kept up to date with changes in meeting dates or times. This makes collaboration very seamless. Tools such as Slack allow information and updates to travel very quickly across individuals in the same level as well as from lower to higher positions and vice versa. This is so much more seamless as compared to having to set aside a specific date and time to discuss small changes to a project. The integration of information from different individuals as well as across different levels has been made simpler through these tools of virtual communication. Examples such as Zoom, a platform we are all familiar with, has seen a user surge at 200 million daily meeting participants as of May 2020, which is 20 times more than in December 2019. And even as we move back to more physical interactions, video conferencing, working from home, and meeting online is here to stay. We have other tools such as Microsoft SharePoint, Dropbox, and Google, which are tools that are widely used to share information and content among specific individuals. These tools allow you to obtain the latest updated content. Accurate and timely information is essential for information integration. The timeliness of this information is one such advantage of virtual communication. Now, virtual communication gives individuals more freedom to multitask, such as surfing the web, eating, etc., all while in team calls. This can lead to social loafing. Virtual collaboration requires that everyone be mentally present and engaged. Now, Harvard Business Review quoted a study by Intrado stating that 82% of people admit to multitasking during team calls. Harvard Business Review recommends keeping this to a minimum for productivity. Now, with video conferencing, the speaker is able to view each individual via their screen, which allows them to gauge if they're being understood or listened to, as compared to looking into a large audience. They're also able to call one another out to participate or provide their inputs. This ensures that everyone is mentally present and engaged, which is essential in disseminating or sharing of information, as we assure that everyone knows their roles, tasks, responsibilities, and has understood the information shared. While this can be done in face-to-face situations, due to the nature of tools for virtual communication, everyone is given their space to speak, raise any concerns, and only after finishing will others be able to speak. In face-to-face situations, for example, a class setting, one can easily be talked over. But, for example, with the raise hand function, The educator will allow people to speak in sequence. As everyone is allowed to clarify doubts, this ensures that information is integrated more successfully than if they were cut off or unable to even speak.
Next, in order for teams to work together, we will first have to establish trust. Based on research presented by Harvard Business Review, Fast Company, and Deloitte, we have some key elements to incorporate into 4 strategies to build trust in a virtual team. Strategy 1 is to get to really know your team members. It will require managers to create a personal and informal virtual setting that helps team members connect with each other. This can be done in the form of team bonding activities using House Active, or conducting daily or weekly morning meetings. House Active is the expert and authority in organizational team building events and programs in Singapore. They deliver a wide range of quality virtual and physical team bonding activities. These specially designed programs can impart and reinforce certain crucial teamwork values such as communication, leadership, and conflict resolution. Strategy 2 is to set and share common goals. Goals are important to building trust because they define a common set of values for the team to drive towards. Working from home has blended our professional, personal lives together, making it difficult to focus. In a virtual setting, establishing goals is even more critical because they define a common destination for virtual team members who feel geographically disconnected while working from home. This can be done through using ClickUp and Notion. Goals can also be categorized into short-term and long-term goals. ClickUp is an all-in-one app providing services in organizing tasks, documents, chat, goals, and more. This is the brief interface of goal setting on ClickUp, which allows employees to set and share common goals. It also helps them keep track of each other's progress. As for short-term versus long-term goals, we have to set goals that are clear, attainable, timely, and easily understood by the whole team. The importance of timing is magnified in a virtual environment. Goals can be immediate. For example, what is the goal of today's meeting? Short-term, what are our quarterly goals? And long-term, our 5-year financial goal. Setting and sharing goals, especially immediate and short-term goals, can help strengthen trust by providing a pool of shared values and an opportunity for each team member to contribute. Strategy 3 is about communicating with transparency and consistency. Being transparent means saying what you mean and meaning what you say and doing what you promise in any setting. In a virtual setting, we have to be extra sensitive with our actions so as to not send the wrong signal. Managers should also encourage employees to voice out any concerns. Being consistent virtually or otherwise, including attendance, punctuality, and staying accountable, sticking to a schedule and being prepared as well. Taking these steps and promoting such a culture in the company will help build trust with team members because it will demonstrate the manager as dependable, responsible, and trustworthy. Good communication can boost teamwork and lead to a better project collaboration. It applies to practically every industry. Workplace communication is important for streamlining internal communication. This can be done through internal or externally sourced shared platforms, allowing employees to publish their work and stay accountable. The points that Mary has mentioned on information timeliness using platforms such as Slack, Zoom, and Dropbox, etc., are implications that will help with communication. Strategy 4 is to incorporate a platform for thoughtful feedback. Providing feedback on team members' knowledge, strengths, accomplishments, and performance, as well as remarks for improvements in a constructive and supportive way, will demonstrate knowledge of employees' talents and contributions, as well as willingness to help them grow. One will then be able to build trust. A thoughtful performance feedback process will help employees grow and allow progress within the team. They will feel confident and build their careers within the company. Employee-to-employee feedbacks can be done during meetings. However, how about employees to employers? We propose a virtual feedback form that is accessible and should be available on the company's websites. The option Ask Anonymously should also be available first, as employees may be scared initially to submit their feedback. Company will have to take their feedback seriously and reciprocate through change. Eventually, the company can remove the anonymous feedback option and employees will develop trust in the company based on their actions and initiatives to address the employees' concerns. As mentioned previously, trust can be established by providing an environment where one is not afraid to speak up about their opinions. Diversity in the workplace has emphasized the importance of trust amongst employees. Let's use Singapore as an example. There were 4.04 million residents in Singapore, and non-residents totaled 1.64 million, and that includes our foreign workforce across all past types. Looking at the percentages, there are 76.2% Chinese, 15% Malay, and 7.4% Indians. The proposed strategies will facilitate interactions between a diverse group of people in the workplace and allow cultural exchanges as well as better understanding of each other, thus building trust in the process. So what would be the outcome of a team with trust? Firstly, it allows a team to accept and commit to the leader's goals and decisions. Secondly, it will build interpersonal trust among team members, which facilitates cooperation. Lastly, it creates a positive working environment, creating good relationships and decreased conflicts as well as better performance. Well, research in Singapore found that in high trust teams, individuals are less likely to claim and defend personal ownership of their ideas, allowing them to strive towards a common goal. Trust takes time to build in a team, but it also depends on what kind of people are in the team.
Now, let's imagine that you are a manager at Starbucks. You have been asked to select employees for a virtual problem-solving team to improve the sales of Starbucks instant coffee. What type of employees would you include and why? Firstly, what is a problem-solving team? They are permanent teams that generally met at a regular time, sometimes weekly or daily, to discuss ways of improving quality, efficiency, and the work environment. They make recommendations, in this case, to improve the sales of Starbucks instant coffee. As a manager, you want to have an effective team. And looking at the team effectiveness model, team composition is one key component of an effective team, which shows that careful selection of employees matters when you want to form an effective team. Thus, what types of employees would you include in this virtual problem-solving team? First, you want to bring in members with knowledge, skills, and abilities. In this case, since you are trying to promote the sales of Starbucks instant coffee, besides problem-solving skills, you might also want to have employees with experience in marketing, public relations, as well as knowledge about instant coffee market. Research reveals insights into team composition and performance. First, when solving a complex problem such as re-engineering an assembly line, high-ability teams composed of mostly intelligent members do better than low-ability teams. Therefore, having a high-ability team matters as they are more adaptable to changing situations and can apply existing knowledge more efficiently to new problems. The concept of including members with the required ability is shown in a research team at the Innovation Lab of Swiss bank UBS, where they test digital, virtual reality, and other new technologies to attract a young generation of investors and to help current clients visualize complex investment portfolios. The team members have the technical expertise and skills needed to function as a high-ability team. Next, you also need to consider the personality of members. Having conscientious members is desirable as they are good at backing up other team members and sensing when their support is truly needed. Ideally, we want to avoid a team with varying conscientious level, as group normalization will complicate interactions and force the highly conscientious members to lower their expectations, thereby reducing team performance. Having open members is desirable as they can communicate better with one another and throw out more ideas, creating a more creative and innovative team. This may translate to a more creative marketing campaigns as well as innovative product. Having members with high levels of emotional stability is desirable in the situation where task conflicts occurs. Teams categorized by openness and emotional stability are able to handle conflict and leverage it to improve performance. Hence, you want to put the most experienced, able, conscientious workers in the most central role, such as the team leader. And ideally, we want to select members that can take on the key roles on the team as shown in the screen. You might wonder if you should have a diverse team. The answer is yes and no. Two meta-analytic reviews shows that demographic diversity is essentially unrelated to team performance, while a third review suggests that race and gender diversity are actually negatively related to team performance. However, diversity in terms of skills, abilities, and knowledge are positively related to team performance. In this case, you might want to have individuals from production, global public relations, global communications, and marketing to promote the sales of instant coffee. One study of 68 teams in China found that teams diverse in knowledge, skills, and ways of approaching problems were more creative, but only when their leaders were transformational and inspiring. Therefore, in addition to diversity in terms of abilities, we also need to have proper leadership. What about cultural diversity? In deciding whether to have a culturally diverse team, you need to consider if the task calls for a variety of viewpoints. In this case, if you are trying to promote the sales of instant coffee globally, then yes, cultural diversity is an asset. Although culturally heterogeneous teams have more difficulty learning to work with each other and solving problems, these difficulties will dissipate with time. Researchers in the United Kingdom found that cultural status differences affect team performance, whereby individuals in teams with more high cultural status members than low cultural status members realize improved performance for every member. Next, you will need to consider the members' preferences, as not everyone is team players. Cohesion never ends up satisfactorily. If the employee prefers to work alone, it is better not to add them to the team. Therefore, high-performance teams are likely to be composed of people who prefer working as part of a group. Lastly, there might be a lot of employees that fit in the criteria mentioned above, but only a few of them can be selected as team size matters. In this case, the phrase "the more the better" may not be true, as experts say that keeping teams small is a key to improving team effectiveness. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos uses the 2-pizza rule, saying if it takes more than 2 pizzas to feed the team is too big. While psychologist George Miller claimed that the magical number is 7, plus or minus 2 for the ideal team size. There is no definite number, but experts suggest using the smallest number of people who can do the task. This is because when teams have excess members, cohesiveness and mutual accountability declines. Social loafing increases and people communicate less. Members of large teams have trouble coordinating with one another, especially under time pressure. In conclusion, this is how an ideal team would look like.